section or step outside. The girl with a shaved head opened her mouth to protest, but shut it when the fairy raised an eyebrow. "Come on," she muttered to her friend. The other girl shoved the book they'd been laughing at back on the shelf on top of some other books, and the teenagers ambled toward the library's front doors. Shaking her head, the librarian removed the book and returned it to its rightful spot. Emily smiled. You gotta admit, though, everyone's a little scared of a librarian's wrath. The fairy turned to settle that calculating gaze on the young witch. Then her disciplinary expression vanished, and she chuckled. That's the third time this week I've had to tell those two to get quiet or get lost. The summer brings us a lot of traffic, along with the heat. But some of these kids make me wish high school lasted year-round. The youngest Hadstrom sister laughed. I was thinking the same thing. At least they're reading, right? The fairy closed her eyes and glanced back across the library toward the front door. The teenage girls were pushing each other across the entrance, back and forth, laughing until they burst outside into the heat of the morning. Maybe I'd rather have them spending their free time at a library than getting into trouble. They're just so loud. She set her hands on her hips and cocked her head. Is that wall acting up again? Emily stretched and bent her leg a few times, the ache in her banged knee almost gone now. Yep, that's never happened before. It's not supposed to either. The librarian reached toward the wall, frowning when she ran her hand along the solid surface instead of being able to pass through. Started acting up a few days ago, and I can't for the life of me figure out why. We've had a lot of complaints. Yeah, it's a painful surprise. Emily grinned, but the fairy didn't seem to think it as amusing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If I knew what was wrong, I'd get to fixing it right away. I just do not understand. I do. The Gorafrex Laura unleashed activated 2 energy cores in a giant escape pod under Austin. With blood magic. And now, regular magic needs a reboot. Emily cleared her throat. Wish I could help. Well, I appreciate that. Let me see if I can get it working for you again. So far, the only thing that seems to work is a few good, hard... A disheveled wizard in a brown seersucker business suit veered off his supposed course toward the back of the library and headed straight for the malfunctioning wall, hunched forward as if he wanted to make himself more aerodynamic. No, don't! Emily warned in a harsh whisper. The wizard's head smacked into the wall, which shivered with a faded yellow light under the impact, and reeled backward. He fell onto his backside with a startled grunt, blinking furiously at the wall that should have let him pass. What the devil just happened? Emily glanced down at his mismatched shoes and socks before eyeing his disheveled hair and the missed button in the center of his dress shirt. Technical difficulties, she said, extending a hand. The man frowned at her, then accepted her help in getting him back to his feet. He brushed off his jacket, unaware of his errors in dressing himself that morning, and rubbed the top of his head. That's not supposed to happen. The librarian turned to Emily and shrugged. See? Technical difficulties, Emily added, and forced back a laugh. The poor wizard was bewildered. This would be funnier if my sisters and I weren't the ones responsible for this mess. You're lucky it's just the top of your head. I went at it face first. Frowning at her again, the wizard stepped back and pulled his wand from the inside pocket of his jacket. I've worked with plenty of wards before. No. The librarian stepped toward him, and the bright bubble of white light that had flared at the tip of his wand extinguished.